Estonia. Estonia, officially the Republic of Estonia, Estonian, Eesti Vabariik, is a country on the eastern coast of the Baltic Sea in northern Europe. It is bordered to the north by the Gulf of Finland with Finland on the other side, to the west by the Baltic Sea with Sweden on the other side, to the south by Latvia 343 kilometers, and to the east by Lake Peipus and Russia 338.6 kilometers. The territory of Estonia consists of the mainland and of 2,222 islands in the Baltic Sea, covering a total area of 45,227 square kilometers, 17,462 square miles, water 2,839 square kilometers, 1,096 square miles, land area 42,388 square kilometers, 16,366 square miles, and is influenced by a humid continental climate. The official language of the country, Estonian, is the second most spoken Finnic language. The territory of Estonia has been inhabited since at least 9000 BC. Ancient Estonians became some of the last European pagans to adopt Christianity following the Livonian Crusade in the 13th century. After centuries of successive rule by Germans, Danes, Swedes, Poles, and Russians, a distinct Estonian national identity began to emerge in the 19th and early 20th centuries. This culminated in independence from Russia in 1920 after a brief war of independence at the end of World War I. Initially democratic prior to the Great Depression, Estonia experienced authoritarian rule from 1934 during the era of silence. During World War II, 1939 to 1945, Estonia was repeatedly contested and occupied by the Soviet Union and Germany, ultimately being incorporated into the former. After the loss of its de facto independence, Estonia's de jure state continuity was preserved by diplomatic representatives and the government in exile. In 1987, the peaceful singing revolution began against Soviet rule, resulting in the restoration of de facto independence on 20 August 1991. The sovereign state of Estonia is a democratic unitary parliamentary republic divided into 15 counties. Its capital and largest city is Tallinn. With a population of 1.3 million, Estonia is one of the least populous members of the European Union, the Eurozone, the OECD, the Schengen Area, NATO, and from 2020, the United Nations Security Council. Estonia is a developed country with an advanced, high-income economy that has been among the fastest growing in the EU. The country ranks very high in the Human Development Index and compares well in measures of economic freedom, civil liberties, education, and press freedom. Estonian citizens receive universal health care, free education, and the longest paid maternity leave in the OECD. One of the world's most digitally advanced societies, in 2005 Estonia became the first state to hold elections over the Internet, and in 2014, the first state to provide e-residency. Etymology of Estonia. The name Estonia has been connected to Esti, first mentioned by the Roman historian Tacitus around 98 AD. Some historians believe he was directly referring to Balts, i.e. not Finnic-speaking Estonians, while others have proposed that the name applied to the whole eastern Baltic region. The Scandinavian sagas referring to Iceland were the earliest sources to use the name in its modern meaning. The toponym Estland, Iceland has been linked to Old Scandinavian east, meaning the east. History of Estonia. Human settlement in Estonia became possible 13,000 to 11,000 years ago when the ice from the last glacial era melted. The oldest known settlement in Estonia is the Puli settlement, which was on the banks of the river Parnu, near the town of Sindi, in southwestern Estonia. According to radiocarbon dating, it was settled around 11,000 years ago. The earliest human habitation during the Mesolithic period is connected to the Kunda culture, named after the town of Kunda in northern Estonia. At that time the country was covered with forests, and people lived in semi-nomadic communities near bodies of water. Subsistence activities consisted of hunting, gathering, and fishing. Around 4900 BC ceramics appear of the Neolithic period, known as Narva culture. Starting from around 3200 BC the corded ware culture appeared. This included new activities like primitive agriculture and animal husbandry. The Bronze Age started around 1800 BC, and saw the establishment of the first hill fort settlements. A transition from hunting fishing gathering subsistence to single farm-based settlement started around 1000 BC and was complete by the beginning of the Iron Age around 500 BC. Geography of Estonia. Estonia lies on the eastern shores of the Baltic Sea immediately across the Gulf of Finland, on the level northwestern part of the rising East European platform between 57.3 degrees and 59.5 degrees north and 21.5 degrees and 28.1 degrees east. Average elevation reaches only 50 meters 164 feet and the country's highest point is the Suurmunamägi in the southeast at 318 meters 1043 feet. There is 3,794 kilometers (2,357 miles) of coastline marked by numerous bays, straits, and inlets. The number of islands and islets is estimated at some 2,355, including those in lakes. Two of them are large enough to constitute separate counties, Saaremaa and Hiiumaa. A small, recent cluster of meteorite craters, the largest of which is called Kali, is found on Saaremaa, Estonia. Estonia has over 1,400 lakes. Most are very small, with the largest, Lake Peipus, being 3,555 square kilometers (1,373 square miles). There are many rivers in the country. The longest of them is Voandu, 162 kilometers or 101 miles, Parnu, 144 kilometers or 89 miles, and Poltsamaa, 135 kilometers or 84 miles. Estonia has numerous fens and bogs. Forest land covers 50% of Estonia. The most common tree species are pine, spruce, and birch. Phytogeographically, Estonia is shared between the Central European and Eastern European provinces of the Circumboreal region within the Boreal Kingdom. According to the WWF, the territory of Estonia belongs to the ecoregion of Sarmatic mixed forests. Climate of Estonia. Estonia is situated in the northern part of the temperate climate zone and in the transition zone between maritime and continental climate. Estonia has 4 seasons of near equal length. Average temperatures range from 16.3 degrees Celsius (61.3 degrees Fahrenheit) on the islands to 18.1 degrees Celsius (64.6 degrees Fahrenheit) inland in July, the warmest month, and from -3.5 degrees Celsius (25.7 degrees Fahrenheit) on the islands to -7.6 degrees Celsius (18.3 degrees Fahrenheit) inland in February, the coldest month. The average annual temperature in Estonia is 5.2 degrees Celsius (41.4 degrees Fahrenheit). The average precipitation in 1961 to 1990 ranged from 535 to 727 mm (21.1 to 28.6 in) per year. Snow cover, which is deepest in the southeastern part of Estonia, usually lasts from mid-December to late March. Military in Estonia. The Estonian Defence Forces consist of land forces, navy, and air force. The current national military service is compulsory for healthy men between the ages of 18 and 28, with conscripts serving 8 or 11-month tours of duty, depending on their education and position provided by the defence forces. The peacetime size of the Estonian Defence Forces is about 6,000 persons, with half of those being conscripts. The planned wartime size of the defense forces is 60,000 personnel, including 21,000 personnel in High Readiness Reserve. Since 2015, the Estonian defense budget has been over 2% of GDP, fulfilling its NATO defense spending obligation. The Estonian Defence League is a voluntary national defense organization under the management of the Ministry of Defense. It is organized based on military principles, has its own military equipment, and provides various different military training for its members, including in guerrilla tactics. The Defense League has 16,000 members, with additional 10,000 volunteers in its affiliated organizations. Estonia co-operates with Latvia and Lithuania in several trilateral Baltic defense cooperation initiatives. As part of the Baltic Air Surveillance Network (BALTNET), the 3 countries man a Baltic Airspace Control Center. Baltic Battalion (BALTBAT) has participated in the NATO Response Force, and a joint military educational institution, Baltic Defence College, is located in Tartu. Estonia joined NATO in 2004. NATO Cooperative Cyber Defense Center of Excellence was established in Tallinn in 2008. In response to Russian military operations in Ukraine, since the 2017 NATO Enhanced Forward Presence Battalion Battle Group has been based in Tapa Army Base. Also, part of NATO Baltic Air Policing deployment has been based in Amari Air Base since 2014. In the European Union, Estonia participates in the Nordic Battle Group and Permanent Structured Cooperation. Since 1995, Estonia has participated in numerous international security and peacekeeping missions, including Afghanistan, Iraq, Lebanon, Kosovo, and Mali. The peak strength of Estonian deployment in Afghanistan was 289 soldiers in 2009. 11 Estonian soldiers have been killed in missions of Afghanistan and Iraq. Economy of Estonia. As a member of the European Union, Estonia is considered a high-income economy by the World Bank. The GDP (PPP) per capita of the country was $29,312 in 2016 according to the International Monetary Fund. Because of its rapid growth, Estonia has often been described as a Baltic tiger beside Lithuania and Latvia. Beginning the 1st of January 2011, Estonia adopted the euro and became the 17th Eurozone member state. According to Eurostat, Estonia had the lowest ratio of government debt to GDP among EU countries at 6.7% at the end of 2010. A balanced budget, almost non-existent public debt, flat-rate income tax, free trade regime, competitive commercial banking sector, innovative e-services, and even mobile-based services are all hallmarks of Estonia's market economy. Estonia produces about 75% of its consumed electricity. In 2011, about 85% of it was generated with locally mined oil shale. Alternative energy sources such as wood, peat, and biomass make up approximately 9% of primary energy production. Renewable wind energy was about 6% of total consumption in 2009. Estonia imports petroleum products from Western Europe and Russia. Estonia imports 100% of its natural gas from Russia. Oil shale energy, telecommunications, textiles, chemical products, banking, services, food and fishing, timber, shipbuilding, electronics, and transportation are key sectors of the economy. The ice-free port of Muuga, near Tallinn, is a modern facility featuring good transshipment capability, a high-capacity grain elevator, chill-frozen storage, and new oil tanker offloading capabilities. The railroad serves as a conduit between the West, Russia, and other points. Languages of Estonia. The official language, Estonian, belongs to the Finnic branch of the Uralic languages. Estonian is closely related to Finnish, spoken in Finland, across the other side of the Gulf of Finland, and is one of the few languages of Europe that is not of an Indo-European origin. Despite some overlaps in the vocabulary due to borrowings, in terms of its origin, Estonian and Finnish are not related to their nearest geographical neighbors, Swedish, Latvian, and Russian, which are all Indo-European languages. South Estonian languages are spoken by 100,000 people and include the dialects of Voro and Seto. The languages are spoken in southeastern Estonia, are genealogically distinct from northern Estonian, but are traditionally and officially considered as dialects and regional forms of the Estonian language, not separate languages. Education in Estonia. The history of formal education in Estonia dates back to the 13th and 14th centuries when the first monastic and cathedral schools were founded. The first primer in the Estonian language was published in 1575. The oldest university is the University of Tartu, established by the Swedish King Gustav II Adolf in 1632. In 1919, university courses were first taught in the Estonian language. Today's education in Estonia is divided into general, vocational, and hobby. The education system is based on 4 levels: preschool, basic, secondary, and higher education. A wide network of schools and supporting educational institutions has been established. The Estonian education system consists of state, municipal, public, and private institutions. There are currently 589 schools in Estonia. According to the Program for International Student Assessment, the performance levels of gymnasium-age pupils in Estonia is among the highest in the world. In 2010, the country was ranked 13th for the quality of its education system, well above the OECD average. Additionally, around 89% of Estonian adults aged 25 to 64 have earned the equivalent of a high school degree, one of the highest rates in the industrialized world. Culture of Estonia. The culture of Estonia incorporates indigenous heritage, as represented by the Estonian language and the sauna, with mainstream Nordic and European cultural aspects. Because of its history and geography, Estonia's culture has been influenced by the traditions of the adjacent area's various Finnic, Baltic, Slavic, and Germanic peoples, as well as the cultural developments in the former dominant powers Sweden and Russia. Today, Estonian society encourages liberty and liberalism, with a popular commitment to the ideals of the limited government, discouraging centralized power and corruption. The Protestant work ethic remains a significant cultural staple, and free education is a highly prized institution. As the mainstream culture in the other Nordic countries, Estonian culture can be seen to build upon the ascetic environmental realities and traditional livelihoods, a heritage of comparatively widespread egalitarianism out of practical reasons, see, everyman's right and universal suffrage, and the ideals of closeness to nature and self-sufficiency. Sport in Estonia. Sport plays an important role in Estonian culture. After declaring independence from Russia in 1918, Estonia first competed as a nation at the 1920 Summer Olympics, although the National Olympic Committee was established in 1923. Estonian athletes took part in the Olympic Games until the country was annexed by the Soviet Union in 1940. The 1980 Summer Olympics sailing regatta was held in the capital city Tallinn. After regaining independence in 1991, Estonia has participated in all Olympics. Estonia has won most of its medals in athletics, weightlifting, wrestling, and cross-country skiing. Estonia has had very good success at the Olympic Games given the country's small population. Estonia's best results were being ranked 13th in the medal table at the 1936 Summer Olympics, and 12th at the 2006 Winter Olympics. The list of notable Estonian athletes includes wrestlers Kristjan Palusalu, Johannes Kotkas, Voldemar Vali, and Georg Lurik, skiers Andris Virpalu and Kristina Smigan-Vaha, fencer Nikolai Novosyolov, decathlete Erki Newell, tennis players Kaia Kanepi and Anett Kontaveit, cyclists Jan Kursapuu and Erika Salamai, and discus throwers Gerd Konter and Alexander Tammert. Paul Keres, the Estonian and Soviet chess grandmaster, was among the world's top players from the mid-1930s to the mid-1960s. He narrowly missed a chance at a World Chess Championship match on 5 occasions. Kicking, a relatively new sport, was invented in 1996 by Adu Kosk in Estonia. Kicking involves a modified swing in which the rider of the swing tries to go around 360 degrees. Basketball is also a notable sport in Estonia. The domestic top-tier basketball championship is called the Korvpalli Meistriliiga. BC Kalev Cramo is the most recent champions, having won the league in the 2016-17 seasons. University of Tartu team has won the league a record 26 times. Estonian clubs also participate in European and regional competitions. Estonia national basketball team previously participated in the 1936 Summer Olympics, appeared in Eurobasket 4 times. Estonian national team also competed at the Eurobasket 2015. Thanks for watching this video. If you like this video, click on like button. If you want to watch more videos like this, click on the subscription button below, it's free subscription.